Every year, millions of dollars worth of recyclable materials ends up in landfills. May not be intentional, it could just be confusion and what can and can't go into that bin.
Yeah, some of us look at that recycle bin and see a riddle. But we've got some clarity for you today, as our next guest has the guide we can use. Micah Herbold is the waste reduction educator. He does this every day for Kent County Department of Public Works. He's here to help us sort out some trash from the treasure. Good morning, Micah. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Thanks you for being here. What will people find in this guide? I think that's what people are looking for, right? A guide for when they're done with something and they just don't know where it should go.
Yeah, so the guide, what it does is it clarifies what the new items that can go into your recycling bin that we come into contact with in this time of year, whether that be the containers that we're using for the foods that we're going to be having during gatherings or during holiday get-togethers, or it could be things like the extra yard waste that we're dealing with as the leaves fall.
Yeah, absolutely. So why is this so important? I mean, because there's a lot of things that people throw away that probably don't end up where they're supposed to.
Yeah, so there's a few reasons why we consider this to be a really important guide. One of them is so that people have a lot more clarity, because the amount of stuff that we're using is very broad, and so giving them that clarity is really important so that it keeps contamination levels down at our facility so that our workers aren't overwhelmed with the wrong items coming in. And then it helps people know how to reduce what goes into their trash because they can recycle more.
And we all want that, right? We want to take care of Mother Earth here. I got one for you. I'm just going to throw one right at you, because this is one that always...
I'm like, oh, I'm waiting.
Yeah, well, it always gets me, because cardboard box is easy. That's cardboard. Empty milk jug, easy. Pizza boxes. They've gone through a thing. You know, pizza boxes are bad, they're good. Where does it stand today when it comes to an empty box of maybe a little bit of grease stain and leftover cheese?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of grease is fine. We can deal with that. The processors that take the material, they really can screen that material out and then still recycle the box. Really, it's good rule of thumb is if the grease stain or cheese is bigger than the size of your hand, then maybe tear off the top, put that into the container, and then it can still be recycled. But if it is much less than that, or you have a liner in there that you can take out, then it's good to go, and we can really deal with that. It's more of the food on it that we want it to not go into the recycling bin.
Okay, I have another one. The cardboard milk containers, are those are able to go in the recycle bin?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, we can take those, and they get processed just fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, when you mentioned at the beginning, you said some new items. Are there new items? I mean, does this list change? I mean, does it get altered where something gets kind of taken off or kind of put on, kind of like the pizza box?
Oftentimes, we're not altering our list. We're just giving out better guidelines based off of the time of year.
Okay.
The most recent item that we've been able to accept has been those cartons. As the technology shifts within the industry and processors are able to work through more material, then we can add items. So less problems with pizza boxes is one of those, but the cartons are the most recent specific item that really has broadened what can come to the recycling center.
I like to try to keep tabs on these. They're very important to me. I'm all in on this. So what are things that we should never be throwing away or recycling? Things that you absolutely cannot take?
So some of the items that people get confused with when they're putting into the recycling bin are things that seem like they shouldn't go into the trash, but oftentimes they don't go into recycling either. So as we get into the holidays, people oftentimes have electronic items that they're breaking or they're getting new ones, and then they'll throw them into recycling because they know that that might have value. Those need to go to specific drop-off sites for electronics, whether that's a cord or a wire or an actual tablet or something else. Other things would be metal items that people know should be recycled, but they need to be recycled more in a scrap metal type setting. So as you're maybe cleaning out a garage and you have, say, lawnmower blades or old car parts or things like that, those need to go to a scrap metal drop-off so they don't end up breaking our machines or causing any damage to the facility.
Sure.
And beyond that damage, I mean, some of these things can be dangerous.
I was just saying.
We recently had a birthday party and bought one of those canisters of helium
Right.
to fill up those balloons. And when that thing is empty, you got this big heavy metal canister, and you're like, well, it feels like it could go. That could be dangerous.
That's correct, yeah. So those materials oftentimes can be under pressure. They could have some sort of explosion if it's propane. So we do have sites for those materials. our household hazardous waste drop-off sites can take things like propane canisters or old chemicals so that they do get disposed of properly, but in the recycling bin, they can be a big problem.
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay, so where can we find this fall recycling guide so that we can all be knowledgeable and do the right thing?
Yeah, so it's on our website, reimaginetrash.org. We have our regular everyday recycling guide for all the things that you're going to want to know for just regular what goes into your bin. And then this fall recycling guide, along with other seasonal guides that we put out there, is also there on reimaginetrash.org.
Excellent. Cool. Am I looking for the raccoons still?
That's more of a state thing. Yeah. But we like raccoons just as much. Yeah, there's not a
trash
problem.
bandits, I tell you. Hey, the recycling guide, it's pretty easy. Go to reimaginetrash.org to get yours.